All right, now welcome. This is Edwin Williams with another Jazz Matters podcast. I'm also joined here with my co-host Von Coulter from Jazz Beats Radio.
Indeed.
And special guest here is my little brother, Marcus Williams.
Yes, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good, man. And
Good.
Marcus Williams is, of course, a great drummer and percussionist here in Atlanta, also an engineer and studio. I could say owns a studio and does recordings and mixing and mastering for everybody in the world. And I'm trying to get him to do something for me, but he just don't want to come across. But we'll work on that. We'll work on that later. But all in all, Marcus, for everybody that there's a lot, you're known all over the world. So, but for our audience, can you just go ahead and give us a little insight on you, where you're from, and how you got started in this music business?
Yeah, I'm from Alabama, Birmingham. Well, actually, a little ways out of Birmingham, called Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, I'm not.
But
gonna
I always have to tell people Birmingham.
Okay, I won't hold it.
Yeah, don't do it. I don't do it against myself. But
right.
But yeah, I'm there. I was born there. My mom is a recording artist, Candy Staten, and I grew up around music. And I used to always just listen to her. I used to be in there, watch her rehearse. And she had got married to Clarence Carter. I used to sit in and watch them rehearse. So I got all I was into the music at a young age. I mean, I even remember when I was about 6 or 7, I just would listen to the radio. I knew all the parts to the songs on the radio that was playing. So that's where, when I started playing these old songs, people would be asking me, how do you know the feel of this song? And I'd go, you're not that old. And it's because it
was in the room, man. It was in the womb. You started
yeah.
in the womb,
Right. So, I mean, I was kind of privileged to be growing up with a recording artist because, Al Green would come by and Bobby Womack and Commodores and all kind of folks, which I would just be around a lot of people.
Wow.
But I wanted to first I tried to become a bass player, but it wasn't working out for me. So, but I wasn't really in love with the bass. I liked the bass, but I wasn't really in love with the bass. My brother was trying to play drums, but he wasn't that good at drums. Then we switched. He went to bass and I went to drum. And that just took it over. It took me some years to get a set because I kept asking my mother for a drum set for about 4 or 5 years. And when she finally got me a set, I was 16 years old. And I started practicing and listening to stuff. And a friend of mine, one of her guitar players, turned me on to Billy Cobham. He had went to a show. We were living in D.C. And he was like, man, I just saw the way he described Billy Cobham and his set and everything that he was doing just had me all excited. So I had my little $4, $5. You could buy an album back then.
Oh, yeah.
When it got Billy Cobham and George Duke live in Europe. And when I heard that, it kind of scared me half to death. I hadn't heard anybody play that much stuff, one person. And it just I had to sit down, and take a breath like, oh my God. And then I took my breath and kept listening to this thing. And then all of a sudden something started building in me, man. Just like, and I just started playing along with each song live on the thing. Wow. Within a year, I was playing professional drums. I was out touring with my mother at 17. It was 2 drummers. She just put me on the stage with the other drummer. Yeah. And I would be out in the summertime with them. And then, that was great because all the rest of my classmates, we come back to school and they be like, yeah, we went to Disney World. Yeah, we went to see the Grand Canyon. I was in Germany and Sweden and so playing. They were like, what? And you can imagine up in the country, in the country, you say you went to Germany and Sweden and Berlin and all these places. They were like, what? So all of this time, you know, after I graduated, one thing about it, you know, I was at school in Hansville. They were like, "You getting ready to graduate? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Marcus?" So I had seen this little. They put it on the bulletin board saying, you know, come up and audition for a music scholarship at Wallace State Community College. I said, I guess I'll go up here and win this scholarship and go to school for a while.
Hey.
So, and they was like, what? So really, the people at the school didn't know how I could play.
Mm-hmm.
They never knew. And what I had to deal with too, I tried to get in the jazz ensemble. I was in the marching band. You know, they had me playing these big old tom-tom things that they didn't want to play for me. You know, they didn't want to play that. They kept the snares and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I was asking the music teacher, I was like, man, I would love to be in the jazz ensemble, because they went to Washington every year and played on the steps, and it was like a competition. And they was like, nah, they wouldn't let me in. Oh. So the last day of school, when they let the seniors, we leave a week or so early, they had the drums set up in the auditorium. They was getting ready to do something. And I remember his name was Mr. Rich, and he was an Indian guy too. And he was like, so they came down, and the sticks was on there, and the two drummers that always denied me, you know, trying to get into the band, but they were in there, and I sat down and I did this solo that just left them standing there with their mouths wide open. And so I got up. When I finished the solo, I put the sticks on the thing and I said, "That's what you missed," and walked out. And that's the last time they saw me. Yeah. And I went up and won the scholarship and went to school for a year, and that wasn't doing nothing because I had a kid, and I was like, I got to go make some money. So I went into Birmingham and work a little bit there. And then I just said, I'm getting in the car and going to Atlanta. And I came to Atlanta, and that's where all of this really blossomed here, because I used to live in Atlanta when I was in the 8th grade, 6th grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then we moved away. But I said, I'm coming back. And that wasn't that far, 150 miles wasn't much. I can run home if I needed to.
Right.
And I came here, and everything just took off from there, man.
And you
took off.
Yeah, and
so my first gig was with Eddie Kendricks. Yeah, I was 17, like 18 years old, and toured with him, and that's how I got started, man. Just really, from Eddie, went on to almost 117 artists I've played with.
Right. Now, you still working with? Are you still working with Anthony?
Yep, still working with little Anthony. Yeah. We just waiting for this. We got a gig in June 2021 sometime.
Yeah, right.
On the books. But,
I think that's that's about the time everybody is going to be moving around anyway, I believe.
Right. Because it just came on the most inopportune time, because I was really looking forward to doing, the Billy Cobham tribute that you wanted to put on with me.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I was gearing up for that, man.
No, we're gonna still do that.
Okay.
I mean, win, lose, or draw, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you ain't even got to worry about that. We're just definitely, all you have to do is let all your people know time and date.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
They will know.
We'll have everything else will be in place. Trust me. Okay, but Vaughn works at Jazz Beats Radio, and he gets to review an awful lot of music. And so, Vaughn, anything you need to talk to?
You know what? I just love this man's joy. He's just, you could tell he really enjoys what he's been doing over his history. And to start off as a teenager like that and jump right into these incredible artists and be able to, make things happen, it makes my spirit feel good, because you could tell his passion and his joy in just being able to play like that. I'm looking for the moment, and I know you are too, Mr. Williams. Are you ready to start? Are you ready to actually sit next to Billy Cobham and play?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Well, one of the biggest things that happened when they had the NAMM show here in Atlanta, back in, I think it was '96, right before they had the Olympics, and the summer. They had, it was either 95, 96, one of those.
It was
And I
96.
was playing at the Westin Hotel downtown, and all of the people that came for the NAMM show was there. So I playing in the lobby with Moses Davis Trio, and here I got Billy Hakeem and all these people coming down. That was amazing to me. It was.
Well,
I'm sitting over there looking. That's Billy Cobb, man. I'm looking at me.
right. That's funny, man. That is funny. So, as far as what you're doing now, I know you got a new project that you're working on or have been working on. Is it complete yet, or how far are you?
Yes, it is. It's complete. I was getting ready to put something out, but now it's the Christmas season. So I'm just gonna wait to January, the first of the year. We get a new president, and I put out a new song too.
Oh yeah, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Might as well make it a duo, you right?
Right, yeah.
But all in all, if now the type of stuff that you normally do, you let me kind of sneak peek one of them, a little bit of one of them a while back, when you were kind of getting everything together. What is that the format that you're using, or is it kind of eclectic where you're going through all different phases of your music?
Yeah, I'm doing all different, everything that inspires me. I look at an album as being something that represents that person, instead of trying to get into a clique or get into this genre, get into that genre, or you got to make them all sound like this because you're trying to get into that. Now, I played with so many different kind of artists. I played jazz, R&B, rock, everything. So all of my influences are in this song. There's some, like I redid the Earth, Wind & Fire, That's the Way of the World.
Right.
But I did it in 6/8.
Right.
Wow.
So a lot of people, when I say that, they go, they trying to hear it in their head. But it's really, really nice. I did, so I got some just kind of smooth stuff. Being a drummer, I can feature anybody on everything. So it makes the album, instead of hearing guitar through it all the whole album, sax through the whole, or piano through the whole album. You can be a piano player, lead this one, a guitarist lead, a flautist, bass player leads one. I mean, just everybody. So I have all types of music that influence me that is me on this CD.
Yeah. Now, when was the last time? I know the last time we talked, I know you were communicating with Jeff Tain, and
yeah.
Did you guys keep it going, or did you go ahead and let him hear your stuff, or what?
I'm still gonna let him hear something. I keep sending him messages, and we keep talking back. He's a cool cat, man, and I'm gonna send him some stuff that I think he'll like that I've done. And and yeah, he'll tell you, he'll say some stuff. But the thing about Jeff, man, what made me feel really good, I met Jeff. I was playing at the what's the hotel that was in Buckhead? It's changed now. It was the Ritz-Carlton in Buckhead, and he was in town, and he came and sit down in front of me while I was playing. And so when I finished, he said, how can you play like that so soft? And is that one pedal and all this stuff? So we talked for a minute, and he had to go. But I was like, man, I met Jeff Tain Watts. So he was supposed to do a thing with John Blackwell that played with Prince, that I taught. And he was my student because for his daughter at Berkeley, and Dennis Chambers, all these people was on that thing. And he couldn't go because he was having back problems. But so me and I did a gig up near New York, near his hometown with Little Anthony and Imperials. And when the piano player knows him that was playing with us, and he said, Marcus, how can you ride with me to the next gig? I got to go over here to Jeff Tain's place. We're going to meet. We're going to go and see him. I was like, okay, I'll go with you. And say, then we'll drive to the next gig. So when he bought this big church that was a production place for another company, and man, it's got a pipe organ, it's got like a sanctuary, and then a house came with it, a basement. He got his whole studio in there, man. He got Elvin Jones drums in that thing.
Wow.
And I mean, I got a chance that when I hit that tom, I was like, that is Elvin. I can hear it when I hit this tom.
Yeah, he called.
I was like, this is crazy. And just all this stuff. So when we went there and knocked on the door, and, rang the doorbell, he came to the door and he opened the door and he said, Marcus Williams. I was like, you just don't know how that made me feel, man.
Oh yeah,
he
said my name. Remembered your name, right?
Yeah, he said Marcus Williams. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. Most of the like
really good guy, really nice family, kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. Really, really killer drummer, man. I was listening to him a lot too. So
yeah. I was gonna say most musicians on a certain level, they do have a thing for remembering names of musicians that they run across, even regardless of how far along it's been, Right. Because that's the way Eddie Harris was. He remembered my name from, it had to be 20 years. This was before he died and everything, but I hadn't seen, or I never expected it, right?
Right.
And it was like, oh my goodness. And Buster was the same way, Buster Williams. I'm like, yeah, man, these guys got photographic memories or something, you know what I'm saying? And,
no, it's something that you did that touched them and etched that into their head.
Right.
That's what happens, man. When you hear something, you go, who's that? And you get that name and you think about that for days of what you just experienced.
Right.
And it's in you. That's what it is, for real. That's how I remember all these people's names, man.
That's cool, man. So Vaughn, like Vaughn's from LA. So the scene, since Vaughn's been here, of course, he's been does a lot of theater also, and movies and so forth. Vaughn's just recently interviewed Bluey, right?
Yeah, Bluey. I sure did.
Yeah.
And what an interview that was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was worked with he's incognito.
Okay. The leader, the guy who founded the group. And they've been around for 40 years, man. And
wow.
And Bluey is, he's an amazing, amazing talent. And I got into the interview and, asked him a few questions, and then it just took off. Mm-hmm. He went into some depth that I would have never imagined in an interview, because by the time he was finished, I felt so inspired. He gave me so much energy, and his love for humanity was just so overwhelming, until it was like, he felt as though he was more of a messenger of the music than anybody I've ever felt, and you felt it through what he was telling you about him being a servant of the people, and it was just magic to me, man. And it was just, and I feel that in your voice, because of your joy in what you do, and how you learned, and how your background and your mom assisted you in your development as a musician, and as a child, it was born in you, Yeah. So Bluey was the same way. He was from the country of Mauritius, which is in North Africa, moved to the UK at 9 years old. And it just, he was inspired by the Beatles in the 60s and all those bands in England. And it just took off. And he and he's done some amazing work along the way. And to last 40 years in the business like he has, he's got a story to tell, And when he does tell that story, all I got to say is I want to be there live to hear it.
Yes.
Well, see, you're gonna get a chance. You're gonna get a chance, Vaughn, to be there live when we set this thing up with Marcus to do this
I
tribute.
love that. Absolutely.
And the thing about it is, after we do this, you're gonna be feeling the same way, but better because you'll actually be there. So,
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
after, yeah, because it's the fact that ever since I've known Marcus, I've always wanted, him, to do great things. And I would always tell him encouraging things. I never,
Yeah.
try to put him down. And there was a couple of times, I think, Marcus, if you remember, when your buddy was around, our buddy, let's say like that.
Lester.
Yeah. When we were
Yeah.
around and we were talking and you were saying something about your, I said, man, you have no clue of what you're dealing with. I mean, as far as what you have in your own spirit as a drummer. And I said, you're probably as good as anything I've seen out there, and I've seen just about everybody, what I'm saying, that has a name. But the thing about it is because, your passion for the music, there's I must set that up for you. And I must, get into your new project too,
Okay.
but the thing about it is, man, it was like, I always knew that you were going to be doing great things. And I always knew that you're going to do it with great people and everything, because like I said, you're not a name dropper per se. You basically do the same as I just let my work speak for me.
Right.
And be done with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there are some things that I do have from the last time we spoke when we were doing the Wren's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
That was coming around, and of course all this was coming around about the same time that we were talking about the concerts.
Right.
So I was definitely trying to get you more involved in what we were doing. You see what I'm saying? And because I know that you brought a different element, but I always wanted to put you out front. I don't know how you felt about it, but I always wanted to put you out front as the band leader, the guy, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And be doing that. And I'm still working to do that. Trust me.
Yeah, it's about that time for me to do that now. That's why I'm doing this. Got this CD and all of that. It's time for me to go on and put my experience.
Yeah, I mean, you take the top off the bottle, man, and go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. And Jazz Matters, man, will give you the platform. Trust me. All you have to do is say it. You know what I'm saying? Anytime you feel like you need a platform to work, here it is, man. And I've been knowing you long enough to know you're not that shy. You know what I'm saying? Not ask.
Right.
So being that said, for the most part, can you do you have any advice for the younger musicians that's coming around now? I know that there's a lot of them out there now, but a lot of them lack, the experience and so forth. They have a lot of chops, which is one thing, but the foundation seems to be the missing element. They don't seem to have a foundation, for what they're doing, especially with drums, because I see that in churches, you find a lot of drummers all over the place. And the thing about it is, it's almost like they have no clue, well, I ain't gonna say all of them, right? I'm gonna say some of those that you can tell that they're just got energy bottled up like a 2-year-old.
Right.
Yeah. And they start going all over the place. So do you have any advice for the young drummers and so forth, as far as there was always a statement, there's one thing to get a job and another thing to keep it.
Right.
When it comes to, especially when it comes to playing as a drummer in organizations. You got any advice for them?
I think, if they'll listen, that's the first advice, listen. Because some of them think they already know what's happening and they won't listen. So they won't accept. You can tell them what they need to do, but they won't accept it because they think we've been in that little spot. If you've been young, one situation or other, you think I don't know what they're talking about. But basically, I tell them, go back. They need to detox a little bit. because I do this little demonstration. I say, you got the talent. You have the talent. It's like, but what you don't set your limits. You don't set, well, not limits, but you don't set, like I put it like this. You're a Ferrari, right? So you're a Ferrari. But when you're downtown in Atlanta and the speed limit is 35, even though the Ferrari can do 200 and something miles an hour, do you do 200 and something miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone? So know what you're playing, play what. Music is spirit and feeling. A lot of them are missing, especially gospel music. It's spiritual. You got to feel where the music is taking you, how they're putting it on as it's like a clinic. Every song is like a clinic. What more can I do? What can I do? And basically everybody's doing the same licks.
Yeah.
You can find your own lane. You could use the stuff that you have, but go back and listen to the guys that was keeping the groove and making the grooves. Learn those grooves and listen to where they play stuff. You got to know, learn the old feels of old songs. When you play these songs, play the feels with how the original drummer played it, how they played feels. Learn how they played in the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s. So when you go back and you play that kind of music, you can't put what you playing for Ty Tribbett into Little Anthony and the Imperials.
You can't do it.
You can't do it. It just, although you think it's you being cool and it's hip and you're bad, but that ain't bad in that genre. Yeah, it's bad, but it ain't bad the way you think it's bad.
Right.
Because those little guys will look back at you and say, what are you doing back there? So you have to learn. It's I use a lot of analogies with cooking. Drumming is like, first you got to get the foundation. If you make baking a cake, you got to make the cake, the foundation good. After you get the cake where it tastes good, it's nice, it ain't too sweet, it ain't too, not sweet enough, just right. Then you start adding the icing where it's needed. Some cake don't even need icing. Right. But if you can add, you don't put just throw something together, put it in there. You don't know, when you get into the cake and you get into the meat of the cake, it's nothing. It's like mush. The cake looks beautiful though. It looks beautiful when you finish it, but when you eat it, there's no substance to it. So you have to treat every song as that. Get the foundation of the song, which is the feel of the song. Make it feel right. The song, put what you need to put in there, the ingredients that you need to put into the song. A couple of things that I know that people have told me, they'll come see me play with certain different people, and they'll say, they heard a lot of stuff about me. Oh, he could do, he's bad, and blah, blah, but they come see me play, and I'm not really doing nothing but accompanying the vocalist. And they like, and they've come to me and said this. It's like, say, the first time I saw you was playing with so-and-so, and everybody been talking about you so much, and I wanted to see. And I was like, when I saw you, I was like, oh, what are they talking about? And then they caught me in a fusion situation, playing jazz fusion, and saw the other side. And then that's when they was like, that's what they say, change them over. It's like, I see what you're talking about. You deal with the situation that you in, make it sound like, if I just play 2 and 4 the whole night, that's what I'm going to play. If, whatever it calls for, that's what you do first. The foundation of the music. If the artist wants to give you a little bit, give them a little bit more, you can give them a little bit more. Not too much, don't go over the top. Right. But that is the meat of it. That's why I've been able to work for so long and with everybody, because you got to give, especially when you're working with an artist, you got to give them the record first. If they want something else, then add it. Because if you put too much salt in your food, you can't take it out. So if you leave a bad taste in the artist's mouth, they're not going to call you no more, because you over seasoned the food first. Yeah. But they can always add more salt in. Just put a little bit more salt in there. And that's great. That tastes good.
All right.
That's it.
Now, Mark, our time is really short on this thing. So give out some information how people can get in touch with you, man. Whether you do, you know, the social media platforms, just let them know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I think it's Marcus Williams. I ain't on that much, you know, because
I understand.
yeah, I'm not. I'm on Instagram, MARCUSRI on Instagram, and they can get in touch with my drumritz at yahoo.com, DRUMRITZ at yahoo.com. You can get in touch with me there in Facebook Messenger when you get in there. So yeah, just contact me like that. I do some lessons sometimes. I'm not really big at doing lessons. I only give lessons to people that I can see the joy and I see what was in me in them.
Right.
Because my patience is not that good to really deal with a lot of other stuff, you know. So you got to really be dedicated, and I got to feel you're dedicated to what you're doing, and you're going to listen and do what I'm telling you to do before I accept as a student. Right. And but yeah, so that's how you can catch me.
All right. So Vaughn, can you give out your information?
Absolutely. You can find me at jazzbeatsradio.com. That is the Jazz Beats Radio webpage. I'm also at Instagram at Von Coulter, and you can find me at Soulscapes1 on Twitter. And I have another Twitter page called Ain't Nothing But Soul, and that's at Ain't Nothing But Soul 1. Ain't Nothing But Soul 1.
Okay. And of course, you know, I'm Edwin Williams, and you can always reach out at the website for Jazz Matters at yesjazzmatters.org. And actually, Jazz Matters is about to open up a store. And we'll have all kinds of apparels and different things, you know, in the store that you can purchase. But that's coming real soon. So for this session, Marcus, we'll get together when I can give a little more time on this format.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little deeper, and then we can and also we'll be doing some virtual stuff here very, very soon. So I will be in contact with you for that. And I'm trying to do a lot of things because of the situation we're in, you know, and a lot of it is moving into a virtual atmosphere. So for this session, like I said, Marcus, thanks for showing up, man, and sharing a little bit of your stuff, a little bit of your insight on you. We'll get into the real nitty gritty stuff later. You know what I'm saying? The real raw stuff.
Yeah.
But all in all, thanks again. So we're out, and thanks again, Marcus. Thanks again, Vaughn. And
thank you.
We can go ahead and put this one down. This will also air on Mondays. It will be posted, so we'll give you a shout out to all your people once we air it. You can always you can see it on I think it's YouTube. You can also get through it through Facebook. But we'll have Marcus, and we hope to hurry up and get the other stuff together so that you can go ahead and do the live performances and so forth. And then everybody get to see the great Marcus Williams. And,
I can't wait.
Hey, I know that's right. So thanks again, man. And we're out on this one.
All right.
All right. Take it easy.
Okay.